Are you struggling for consistency in your sim racing? Does your iRating look like a roller coaster? If so, we have good news for you. The way to get more consistent is to first understand what you're doing differently than the professionals. And VRS is the answer. With our competitive subscription, you will have the telemetry, setups, tutorials, and everything else you need to fully analyze your driving. Our data packs and the ability to compare your driving with the best in the world will show you exactly where to adjust your inputs, change your driving line, and shave seconds off of your lap times. And our powerful and precise Direct Force Pro wheelbase and precision pedals are being used by some of the world's best drivers. All these champions agree that VRS hardware is not just the best on the market, it's also priced well below the competition. So if you're looking to upgrade to direct drive and the best pedals in sim racing, VRS is your answer. If you want to get better, get faster, and make it happen sooner rather than later, you owe it to yourself to find out why so many people are switching to VRS. You'll be so glad that you did. Visit www.virtualracingschool.com and learn why the best use VRS.
Ricmotech, high-performance sim racing equipment. There's only one place to go, ricmotech.com.
Drive up to Jersey.
Ricmotech, high-performance.
Tonight we head to the king of all street circuits. No, it's not like Long Beach or Belle Isle. It's not tight or all that twisty, and our racers won't be confined by walls mere inches away from their window nets. And it's actually a combination of both public roads and a purpose-built race course. Tonight they'll be able to properly stretch their legs of their sports car steeds as they have 8.5 miles to think about their next lap strategy. Both speed and endurance, as we have our first 90-minute race of the season, will definitely be put to the test here at the Circuit de la Sarthe, better known as Le Mans. Welcome everyone to round number 4 of the Extreme Motorsports Ricmotech World Challenge presented by Performa Elite, MRA Advisor Group, and Buttkicker here on Apex Racing TV. I'm Greg Ginsberg, and joining me in the announce booth is Larry Lefty McLeod, along with Lee Thompson in the virtual production trailer, bringing you all the best views of tonight's action. And so, good evening, Larry, and welcome to perhaps the ultimate track for the World Challenge. It's amazing to me that the last time we were here was actually 5 seasons ago.
Has it been that long? Wow.
It has.
This is crazy, but it's great to be back. It's such a track that is absolutely the quintessential perfect home for the World Challenge. I mean, that's what these cars are built for, isn't it? Certainly these prototypes are meant to be going 200 plus down the Mulsanne Straight. So I'm excited to see how this plays out. And we're here for a full 90 tonight. This is true endurance racing here on Apex TV. This is going to be pretty cool.
It definitely is. And so you'll notice here as you watch our screen that our drivers, they are out on track here in the dark. They are going to be qualifying in the dark, and we're going to be driving and racing into the light here at Circuit de la Sarthe. So we will definitely be seeing how our drivers do under the shine of the headlights to start things off as they move into brightness. But Larry, let's do this. I mean, and this is going to take a little bit longer than it normally does, which is a good thing because we've got a little bit longer qualifying session than we normally have. Why don't we turn things over to Kevin Ford? He's going to give us tonight's, or let's call it this morning's, track guide of the Circuit de la Sarthe here at Le Mans.
Welcome, everyone, to La Sarthe, France, and Circuit de la Sarthe, and the home of the 24 Hours of Le Mans. That's right, we are here at this legendary 8.4-mile road course, a track that dates all the way back to 1923. That's right, Le Mans is a combination of public roads and permanent circuit, and it has been that way since day one. Of course, the track has been grown upon and added to over the years, and we're about to see the beauty of this incredible track. Here we go. Let's get ready to head up the front straightaway here as we see the beautiful grandstands on the left and right as we approach the start-finish line here. Coming across it now as we head up into turn one. This is a very fast entry. Very exciting entry to turn one. Love this corner. Coming down into a right-hand sweeper. We're going to get hard on the brakes. Get down through the gears here and get ready for this very tight first chicane. Up through Dunlop and heading up underneath the Dunlop Bridge. This will be a slight left-hander and then back to the right as we come down the hill into Tetra Rouge. This will be a hard left-hander. A little bit of a banked corner, which is nice. Gives you some good momentum up and out. But then you got this light crest here. It gets the car light. And then into Tetra Rouge, the double right out onto the main straightaway. A lot of speed on exit here. And you need that because this takes you out onto Mulsanne Straight, the longest straightaway here at Le Mans. Great overtaking opportunities here, obviously, with the slipstream down this long straightaway. As you can see, we're heading down a public road here with all the businesses and homes on the left and right. What a great place to view this race from. Coming down into the first chicane here on Mulsanne, we're going to get down into the gears at the 100 marker, into second gear, trail brake, let it roll off that second exit, and right back up through the gears, taking just a little bit of curve not to upset the car. Back out onto the next section of Mulsanne Straight. Again, slipstream opportunities here, obviously, in the first couple sectors of the lap. A lot of speed here. We'll be hitting speeds of upwards of 170 to 180 miles an hour coming down into the second chicane here. 100 marker, back down through the gears, into second gear. Gonna let that car roll back to the right, come right back to throttle, get right up onto the inside curb, and get a good launch out onto the final section of Mulsanne Straight. This corner down here is obviously exciting for spectators. You'll see a lot of them piled up here as these cars roar down into Mulsanne Corner. Very, very difficult right-hander. Heavy on the brakes, down through the gears, all the way down into first gear. Hug that inside tight, come right back to throttle, and up through the gears once again. Coming off that corner back there's a lot of undulation, very staggered track surface. Certainly can get that back end loose as you're coming to throttle. Got to be real careful back there. Coming down this second long straightaway here, actually the second longest straight at Circuit de la Sarthe. We come down into a section known as Indianapolis. We're going to get heavy on the brakes here. Coming down into this very tight left-hander. Down into second gear, we're going to use the banking to get that car to rotate up off the top of the crest of the corner. And then heavy braking down into our nage, down into first gear. Once again, tight right-hander, easy on exit. And back up into another very high-speed section. You can tell Le Mans is a very fast course, an opportunity for drivers to really stretch their legs out and let those engines roar. Here we go, some of the toughest corners on the track. Coming into Porsche curves. Very fast right-hander, hug that bottom, and then we're going to pin it through Porsche curve here to the left, right out to that wall, up into fifth gear, and then heavy braking down into fourth with this long rotating wrapping right-hander, and then right back to the left. Getting a little bit loose coming out of there, but that's all right. We were able to save it. Coming through this little fast chicane, then we're going to come down into four chicanes to wrap up the end of this lap here. Down into this quick left, right, down into second gear. Gonna roll center, back to the right again, out of the forward chicanes, and right back up onto the front straightaway, across the stripe. There's your track guide for the wonderful, beautiful Circuit des Lessards here in La Sarthe, France. Thank you for being with us.
All right, and thanks to Kevin Ford for tonight's track guide of Le Mans. And Larry, in the seemingly 20 minutes since Kevin started that lap, the sun has not risen.
It has not.
It is still dark, and well, look at that. Bobby Childs is well lit. Maybe well, he doesn't have any lights behind him. With Bobby coming off a podium finish a couple weeks ago
he did.
at Road Atlanta, so I'm sure that he is hoping for all types of things to shine down on him today here from Le Mans. But Larry, let's do this while we've got our cars heading out on track right now, and they are on their first flying laps here at Le Mans at all 8.4 miles of it, at which our drivers are going to be probably at wide open throttle at a minimum of 85% of the lap. Let's try to see if we can pick out the different. Actually, you know what? Why don't we wait till the sun comes up, and then we'll talk about how to pick out the different classes? Because I don't think we're going to be able to see them all that
different,
well.
and when you can see them, we'll tell you what they are.
Yeah, exactly.
But I can see a number plate, at least on the side of Michael Brooks's car, that did appear to be red, which is the correct color.
Which is the correct color. Yep, there it is. That's Michael Brooks in the red with the red number board. He's in the number 83 machine. And drivers in the GT3 cars with the red number boards, and you see later windshield banners and what have you. There are pros. Shad Curran driving the number 2 Porsche. You'll see he's got a green number board. Our AM drivers are driving the cars with the green number boards, windshield banners, mirrors, etc. You'll be able to see the rest of that, as we said, when the lights come up. And then our prototype cars like the Impatience here, in the number 21 machine in one of the brand new Porsche 963s. He's racing for the wrong stuff. That car will have the black number boards, and yeah, probably be even harder to see.
They are actually, I'm just going to call that color blur, because that's all I can see when I look at the cars. They're so fast. It's just a blur.
Yeah, it's certainly 60 frames per second isn't enough to do that car justice right now. All right, so Larry, we do have our first laps coming in. And early on, jumping to the top of the leaderboard here in GTP, driving a Porsche 963 is Fernando Takahashi. Ian Patience, who we were just following a few moments ago for the wrong stuff, he sets the second fastest lap time. But now it doesn't really matter. Ben Rose goes to the top of the leaderboard. And Rose driving one of the Cadillac V-Series, with a 322.42, and it just amazes me over 8+ miles how you can have about 14 hundredths of a second separating. Actually, it's it's 1.14 seconds. It is now,
separating. With Ben's time, it is between Ian Patience and Takahashi. They were just a couple of hundredths, but nope. Now Ben Rose goes and lays that time down. Of course, we're waiting on Bailey Petrowski to get a real flyer in there. He's a couple seconds off on his first flyer, so we'll see what he can do. As he's come into this with 3 straight wins, and that's strong performance. We'll see what kind of things he can do here in qualifying. Although I'm not so sure qualifying is that important here at the Circuit des Lessards.
Yeah, exactly, and especially over a long race tonight. We'll see what the 115 driver can do. Of course, Bailey moving over from his privateer Petro West team to now run with the D2D folks. So
he's got a D2D livery on the car that you'll see when the sun comes up.
Sure, we will. Maybe. And he now has the ability to call Bobby Childs a teammate. And actually, I'm sure Bobby, who is currently sitting fourth in the order right now, is.
Let's put it this way: since Bailey's joined D2D, Bobby is 1 for 1 when it comes to podiums. So this is working out for Bobby very well.
Yeah, it definitely is. All right, so Larry, let's do this, as we've got an extended period of time. And again, qualifying running 20 minutes tonight. Still giving these drivers, I believe, the 3 flying laps. I don't think that has been increased. We're giving them 4.
Yeah, should be 4.
Okay, should be okay. Oh yeah, we do normally give them 4 flying laps, don't we? Yeah. Hey, wow. Can you tell I've been away too long since I wasn't here for since I wasn't here
Do I
for
have to call
round
Chad?
number 3 at Road Atlanta? I
Is
forget
Chad
everything.
ready on standby?
Yes. Well, gosh, I hope so. Chad, Ron, you name it. We've got such a deep bench here. We can bring anybody in.
Yep.
All right, let's do this, Larry. Though, as most of our drivers are now working either lap number 2 or 3, and there you go, Bailey Petrowski going to the top of the GTP leaderboard with over 8/10 separating he and Ben Rose, the Acura driver, putting down a 321.587, and that is going to be tough to beat as well. Ben and Takahashi, they're getting close to the end of their third flying laps. But let's do this as we see if we've got any major changes here in GT3. And we're going to give these drivers, who for the most part are working their second flying laps now, a few more moments to put things in the books here. But looking back a couple weeks back to round number 3 at Road Atlanta, just about 2 weeks ago, in GT3 AM, Jeff Brooks for the Wrong Stuff took the win in his Porsche 911. And I'll tell you, in GT3 AM, it was the Porsche show. With our top 4 drivers all in 911s. It wasn't until you got to our 5th place finisher until you saw a different chassis where Chuck Lobano was driving one of the new Ferrari 296s. But Jeff Brooks took the win by over 12 seconds over Leo Dragota, with Dre Divock finishing in 3rd. So we've got 2 Wrong Stuff drivers on the podium, and then Alex Brown finishing in 4th. And let's take a look at the point standings currently in GT3 AM. There you go, sitting at the top of the leaderboard with 156 points is Leo Dragota, as he has 1 win on the season, had 2 poles, and then 6 points back, Dre Divock for the Wrong Stuff, and then Chuck Lobano in that Ferrari. He is sitting 24 points out of the lead currently. For Frito Sport Racing, Jackson Detmer and Lucas Dragota, Leonardo's teammate, currently sitting 5th in the championship. And you can see that things really start to tighten up right past that 5th position. If we take a look at GT3 Pro, it was the triumvirate from Orion Racing on the podium, with Travis Schwenke taking the win by only 0.3 of a second over Robert Hartley, with Mike Dam finishing just a couple car lengths back from there, all in their BMW M4s. Then we had Ken Copeland in his BMW AMG GT3 finishing 4th. Iago Mores in his Porsche 911 finishing in 5th. And if we take a look at the point standings in GT4 coming in, or probably in, let's try that again, GT3 Pro coming into round number 4, it is Mike Dam atop the championship currently. Round 3 at Road Atlanta is the only race that he has not won. He came in having been the winner in rounds 1 and 2. Ken Copeland from Team Esport Racer in his Mercedes, currently 36 points out of the championship, in 2nd, with Iago Mores 4 points back from there in 3rd. And then a bit of a drop to Chris Thorman from D2D, and you can see Travis Schwenke, even with that win 2 weeks ago, finds himself sitting 5th in the championship, and a very distant 5th at this point. And so if we go and switch over to GTP, Bailey Petrowski, as you mentioned, newly with D2D E-Racing and newly racing the Acura ARX-06. He was your winner by over 30 seconds over Ben Rose, with Bobby Childs finishing 3rd. And those top 3 drivers, the only GTP drivers to finish on the lead lap at Road Atlanta. Ryan Reeves for SRT Esport finished 3rd. And then the voice of Source Racing, Curlin Andrew, in his BMW M Hybrid, he finished 3 laps down in 5th. And so if we take a look at the championship standings now after 3 rounds in GTP, it is Petrowski with an even 200 points. And look at that, 22 points up on SRT Esports, Ryan Reeves. Then we've got Ben Rose from DNA sitting 3rd in the championship, only 1 point out of 2nd currently. and Ryan Reisman also from DNA, not all that far back, only another 7 points from his teammate. And then Bobby Childs coming off that podium finish for D2D. He is at 165 points, currently 35 points out of the championship. And then things again start to tighten up there with Ross, Cedar, Mofield, all in very close proximity. Matter of fact, we'll get to talk to Bill Mofield hopefully in just a little bit about that. And
well, you had mentioned there how Ben Rose is currently in that tight battle in those second and third positions. It's now a tight battle here for the pole on our GTPs. Yes. Right now, Ben Rose has it at the moment, and he's on his fourth flying lap, as is Bailey Petrowski. But Rose, by a 10.5 right now, has the pole in the Cadillac over Petrowski in the Acura. We'll see if Petrowski, he might also be done at this point. So we'll see if anything comes out of that, if there's any answer back. But I don't think Bailey's out on track right now.
Yeah, I don't think so. And Ben Rose had called off his fourth and final flying lap, pulled the car into the pits, just short of start finish. As we're watching Mike Dam right now, again finished third at Road Atlanta just a few weeks ago, and is currently your leader in the GT3 Pro Championship. And he is currently sitting on his last flying lap, currently sitting 10th. In qualifying here in GT3 Pro. So he is looking, he ran a 4:06 on his last flying lap in order to get up into the top 5. He's going to have to knock almost 9 seconds off his previous best time.
Although on an 8-mile track, 9 seconds may not be that much.
No, it may not. Well, I suspect that he probably had at least one lap with an off there, and he probably ended up trying to just at least bank one lap. But again, he is a quarter of the way through his final flying lap right now as we take a look at Dre Divock, who is currently your fourth fastest qualifier in GT3 AM, driving his Porsche, driving for the Wrong Stuff. And we can see Dre there. We got the nice overhead view of his rig.
Yeah, and I tell you what, he has visited the Wrong Stuff gift shop. As he's got the shirt on tonight, he's got the flag
banner
waving behind him, really literally waving the colors and the flag there for the Wrong Stuff Racing. Very cool.
And he might have that time machine that we thought Bobby Childs had, because it looks, as I'm watching the left-hand side of his rig, it looks much brighter there in Dre Divock's world than it does in our world currently.
He's got the night vision goggles on.
That could be. Maybe that's it. Maybe he's adjusted for the night vision goggles or something. Who knows? But yeah. So Dre Divock currently sitting fourth.
As we go on board, and we can see that night vision. It does. You can see a little bit of that morning light just sort of appearing across the horizon, but still the headlights are the dominant source of light as it goes around the Indy Bend here. So yeah, it's tough to see, but it's getting there.
It's definitely coming. Light is definitely coming up as we're on board with Michael Brooks, Dre Divock's Wrong Stuff teammate. Brooks currently your provisional pole sitter in GT3 Pro in his 911, and he is working right now the last couple corners of his final flying lap, as he's going to be coming up over towards the final curves here.
The Porsche curves, the Corvette curves. Just floating that car around. Maybe around a little bit too much.
Maybe a little bit too much float there, Larry.
Perhaps, as he's going to fall just short of the wall there. So that's going to probably do it for Michael Brooks' final lap.
That's right. So Brooks, of course, came into that lap as your provisional pole sitter with about almost 0.8 of a second on Ken Copeland, and I believe Copeland is getting ready to complete his last flying lap as we look at John Casey right now. And Casey currently sitting 10th in GT3 AM.
Good shot of Jeff Jacobs there as well in his BMW. Kind of nestled right now 7th in the pro category in this qualifying.
All right, so Larry, tell you what, we've got Bill Mofield sitting in the green room. Why don't we pull him in as we've got about 3 minutes left in qualifying here. Bill Mofield, he is driver of the number 91 WJM Motorsports GTP Porsche, currently sitting 8th in the championship.
All right, so Bill, thanks for joining us here before the race. This is a crazy place to get your qualifying in the dark. How successful do you feel in qualified with limited light?
It's a little more difficult. I run VR, so and being 60, but no, I actually love this track. I like driving it daytime, nighttime. We did the 24 hours as a team this year, and I really do enjoy running this track.
Yeah, I think it probably is one of those everybody's got to try it. Everybody's got to race in this thing because it is just an absolute monster. But we love calling the races here because I think it's going to make some really good World Challenge level of racing. But, so far in this season, kind of looking at this, you've been kind of you had your best result, I think, the last time out at Road Atlanta a couple weeks ago. But, do you have a target position you like to shoot for? Are you one of those where you set yourself goals, or you just kind of play it and see what happens?
No, I actually get out here. I understand, as far as the other drivers and their abilities and skills. My teammate, Fernando Takahashi, he's the team ringer, and I'm in here as his support, basically.
Yeah. Do you guys work together on setups? Do you guys work together on developing any kind of strategies for whether fuel stops or anything else? Do you guys work on that level as a team?
Oh, absolutely. We practice together. We do the setups. So primarily Fernando does the setups, but we're in constant communication daily as far as how we're going to approach the next race.
Yeah, that's awesome having a team. Have you seen that kind of value as opposed to if you're just by yourself? Do you like having that to bounce setup stuff off each other and to really connect on that? Does that make this a better experience than through these races?
Oh, absolutely. It's really nice to have the I guess, lack of words, the comfort of having that teammate on the track, so that you can, because I can go to Fernando and ask him, hey, I'm having an issue with the rear on this, or I'm understeering, oversteering, and he makes some suggestions as far as the in-car adjustments, and we take it from there. But yeah, I thoroughly enjoy having a teammate on the track.
Yeah, that's just awesome. It's good to have a teammate who right now is sitting up 4th on the grid. So that's got to be excited. Do you guys during the races though, do you stay in communication, or you tend to just kind of run your own races separately?
No, we're in same Discord, and if something goes wrong, we'll say something. And again, it depending on the time distance between each other, whether we can help the next person if we see something or so forth. But we stay in constant communication through the race.
That's awesome. So tonight, any special thoughts about tonight and being a 90-minute race versus the normal 75s? Does that affect you at all? Is there any different strategy?
I can't necessarily say that there's a different strategy, but we just take it as it comes. As the track gets warmer or colder and so forth, and then we'll just adjust, discuss why we're racing. Discuss what changes we want to make for the next pit stop based on the track conditions and so forth, and then we take it from there.
Yeah, well, it sounds like grid's about to be gridded up here, so thanks for joining us here pre-race. Good luck tonight, and maybe with any luck, in about 90 minutes, we'll get a chance to talk to you again.
Yeah, no problem. Do you mind if I give a shout out to my sponsors?
Absolutely, yeah. Go ahead.
Well, our primary road sponsor is MRA Advisory Group. They're a financial group out of New Jersey for the Tri-Cities area. The Garza Law Firm is a law firm out of East Tennessee, and then Extreme Sim Racing also sponsor us for our both road and oval racing.
Oh, that is awesome. We appreciate those guys helping out and being a part of your team. So good luck tonight, and let's see how it rolls.
And I'm sure it'll be a job well done tonight by you guys. You always do well.
Appreciate that. Good luck, Bill.
All right, there you go, Bill Mofield from WJM Motorsports. And Larry should also mention that one of his sponsors, he just mentioned them, MRA Associates, MRA Advisory Group, one of the new sponsors starting tonight here in the World Challenge. So let's go run down the starting grid here this evening. And in GTP, your pole sitter from DNA Motorsports with a qualifying time of 3:21.5, Ben Rose. Bailey Petrowski
Currently, your second, or not currently, but probably starting regardless on the outside of the front row. Petrowski from D2D in the number 115 machine. He'll be on the outside pole. Ian Patience from the Wrong Stuff will start third, with Bill's teammate Fernando Takahashi from WJM Motorsports starting in fourth. Your third row will be Ryan Reisman from DNA Motorsports, along with the Bobby Childs from D2D E-Racing in the number 88 machine. Then we've got Ryan Reeves from SRT Esport and Aaron Beaver. Then Adam Ross and Bill Mulfield will make up row number 5. And then we've got Curlin Andrew. And actually, let's do this. Rather than me moving there, let's move over to our next row, which is going to be our GT3 pole sitter.
Yep, so our GT3 pole sitter tonight, of course, from Orion Racing, Mike Dam will be leading them away when the GT3s take off, and he'll be lined up alongside. It's going to be Michael Brooks from the Wrong Stuff on the outside of that first row. Then we're going to have on the second row, Esport racer Ken Copeland lined up alongside Jeff Brooks from the Wrong Stuff. I think he's the highest starting of all the AM drivers. On the next row, you're going to have Orion Racing on the inside, Travis Schwenke, alongside D2D's Tris Thorman. Following row, you're going to have Yaga Mores from the Wrong Stuff lined up with Alexander Brown from Team Collusion. Behind them, you're going to have another Orion driver, Rob Hartley, on the inside. He'll be lined up with David Steiner from Dominate Racing. Following them, on the inside, it'll be another Wrong Stuff driver, Dre Divock, alongside Jeff Jacobs, SCCA Foundation. And then behind that row, you got Leo Dragota in the 24 spot, lined up alongside Jackson Detmer from Elevated Esports. Augustin Castro from the Wrong Stuff will be lined up alongside Michael Caffrey from Dominate Racing. Behind them, you got David Payton from D2D and Peters Motorsports, Christopher Peters. One more row here, Chuck Labano from Frito Sport, lined up with Shad Curran from Elevated Esports. Behind them, John Casey from Frito Sport will be lined up with Russ Ruddick from Flying Tortoise Motorsport. We had another Frito Sport driver, Greg Brockway, lined up with RFC Racing's Robert Brist. And then we've got Philip Caffrey from Dominate Racing alongside Lucas Dragota from Dragon Sport Racing.
And you know, Larry, I was going to mention that Chuck Labano and Lucas Dragota did not put in qualifying times, I believe, and we're starting at the tail end of the field. Labano just brought his car to the pit lane, so he will have a pit lane start in his Ferrari.
And just want to mention real quick that just before we started to roll off, we did have a brief moment of silence for the GTP driver Ben Rose's father, who passed away this week. So all of the drivers shut their engines off and had a moment of silence there for Ben's father. Ben, of course, on pole tonight. Pretty awesome feat he's able to do in memory of his father here tonight. In memory of
his father, yeah. All right. So we've got the field now, Larry, making their way over towards the Ford chicane here. And as they come around, we will take the start here in GTP. As you mentioned, Ben Rose, your pole sitter, Bailey Petrowski, lined up directly alongside as they come out of the Ford chicane onto the front straight and waiting for the call to the green from our starters. And there you go. Green flag is now in the air, and we are racing here at Le Mans.
That was a bit of a delayed jump there, but yeah, Ben Rose now finally able to pull away just a little bit as they go through the opening curves.
That's right. Oh, and running a little bit wide there. Bobby Childs going around is Bobby Childs. He's going to drop all the way to the back of the GTP field as our GT3 drivers now come onto the front straight, and you can see Labano in that Ferrari at the tail end of the field here getting ready. And now we are underway as Mike Dam and Michael Brooks head into the Dunlop curve, with coming into the chicane now, jumping to an early lead, but running off into the paint is Brooks, and then Copeland. Mike Dam jumping out now into the lead there, as we've got Jeff Brooks, Larry, falling all the way to the back of the field in the number 85 machine.
That's what I was wondering. Yeah, I believe he was our forward-most AM driver.
Yeah.
Has now already spun there on that opening lap through the Dunlop curve. So he's going to be on a bit of a recovery here for the next 90 minutes as we flash forward to the front of the overall GTP field. And there he is, Ben Rose, your pole sitter, kind of already pulling a little bit as they go down there between the chicanes, heading on down to the Michelin chicane here to the left.
Yeah, and so Ian Patience had gotten around Bailey Petrowski on those opening corners, and we can see Petrowski already periodically flashing the lights over at Ian Patience, trying to get him to pick up the pace just a little bit. There were maybe just trying to get on his nerves here very early on. A little bit further back behind, just behind Petrowski, is Fernando Takahashi from WJM Motorsports in the Porsche, and then we've got Ryan Reisman. But let's jump over to this battle for the lead now here, Larry, in GT3, where it is Mike Dam and Ken Copeland, with Chris Thorman, who has been very strong of late, sitting in third with Robert Hartley. A little bit further back, though, Travis Schwenke looks like he's maybe getting swallowed up by a bit of the field here. As he's got Brooks has now gone around, as well as Alexander Brown.
There's a lot of movement out there right now as Ken Copeland's keeping up with Mike Dam, but it was Michael Brooks that also faded a little bit. He's kind of around that. You can see there in that number 83 back there. He's fallen down the order just a little bit. And Jeff Jacobs was going side by side through that second chicane. And you can see right there alongside him is Leo Dragotta in the number 118. With, I think, that'd be Dre Divock in the that's Augustin Castro there, shoving his nose almost down the inside, and there's a big pile up.
Cars. Yeah. Oof. And up and over the wall. I think that was David Steiner that went into the trees. We've got a number of drivers that are, really bunched up the field there.
And we're going to go virtual safety car with the car up on its roof, and it's another one in the back of the shot there. But I believe that was Michael Brooks, who started on the outside of the front row. Now he's got himself in the pits on the automatic tow, having flipped over the wall. This has been one crazy hectic start.
Yeah, indeed. Chris Thorman, who was sitting right up towards the top of the field there he was sitting in fourth position in the D2D Ferrari. In the D2D Ferrari, pardon me. He now finds himself taking the tow back to the pits as well. And we're starting to see a few of our GTP drivers starting to bring their cars into the pit lane. Looks like Adam Ross, as well as Bill Mulfield, decided to come down the pit lane and maybe take some service. Bobby Childs is there for the long haul, however.
Yeah, both of them right there, Mulfield and Ross, significant damage on the front of those cars. They were not even able to continue to drive around. So that's tough there. Mike Dam still leading the way. Ken Copeland up into second. But yeah, Michael Brooks probably taking the biggest brunt of that when it comes to the front runners. Let's catch a replay here of Brooks and how that happened as he goes into the hairpin, comes on out, and it's pile up in front of it. And for Brooks, there is nowhere to go. And eventually, he sits there, but I think he gets hit right there. Yeah, a lot of contact. Big
and over.
Chris Thorman made a little bit of damage as well to his Ferrari. There's his damage. He gets hit in the back. Oh my goodness! Look at this. So much. Yeah.
And the back again. And
Yeah, and Chuck Labano also involved in that. Robert Brist and a few others as well. So, all right, I think we've got, again, this was or is a virtual safety car. So that means everyone just down to a speed. The crowd mostly still together. Have we gone back to green? It looks like we may have. Nope. They're slow there.
Yeah, they're still slowing up here, Larry.
Okay. They're bringing the field together. And we'll see what the stewards want to do if they want to release them, because being an 8-mile track, I'm not sure they want to go all the way around and start at start-finish, or if they're going to release them in a different location. We'll let them make that call and communicate it to the drivers.
All right, and want to remind everybody here that one of our great partners again this season is Buttkicker, and Buttkicker is going to be providing to one lucky driver here in the World Series a Buttkicker Gamer Plus system worth $279.95 to be awarded at the end of the season. If you want to turn up the immersion in your sim rig, visit thebuttkicker.com to find out how. All right, so if we take a look at the order, and we've got it right there on the side of your screen. Ben Rose, currently your leader in GTP, with Bailey Petrowski, who did get around Ian Patience prior to that incident. Petrowski now running in second, Ian Patience running in third. You can see Ryan Reisman there in the Cadillac for DNA Motorsports. He is currently sitting fourth with Fernando Takahashi from WJM in his Porsche, currently fifth. In GT3 Pro, it's Mike Dam from Orion in his Porsche. Ken Copeland currently running second here in the Mercedes-AMG GT3 with Robert Hartley in his BMW running in third. Iago Mores and Agustin Castro both driving Porsche 911s. They are sitting fourth and fifth. And then in GT3 AM, Leo Dragota in the Dragon Sport Porsche is currently your leader. Dre Divac, who we're looking at right now, running second in the AM category with Michael Caffrey currently running in third in his Mercedes.
Yeah.
Jackson Detmer, David Payton, or probably Jackson Detmer fourth, Christopher Peters running in fifth.
Not sure how long we're going to see Dre Divac running second in the M category because he has significant damage to the front of his car. I saw a light bit of damage to Leo Dragota, and I know that you look at Leo Dragota, he's picked up 10 spots since the green flag dropped. That may have come at a cost if he's got any damage that possibly has compromised that car. Another one that's moved up a bunch, Agustin Castro, has got himself all the way up to the fifth spot in the pro category and the overall. So that's a great pickup there for Agustin Castro.
Yeah, started 26th in the field, now up to 13th. And Larry, I think we are going to be going back to green flag racing this time by. You'll notice that the GT3 cars have started to drop back off of the back of the GTPs, leaving a bit of a gap there. And actually, that's a great shot because you can see them coming out of the chicane there. The GTPs coming out of the chicane, the GT3s getting ready to go in as they come down the Mulsanne Straight.
So they're just having the drivers change their pace a little bit here as they are not very close to start finish. So I'm curious where they're going to end up releasing the green.
Say they're what, about 2/3 of the way around the track at this point.
They are coming, I believe, into the scene of the crime down here at the Mulsanne curve there, basically the hairpin at the far end.
Yeah.
So they're only about halfway around. And then, so they're adjusting the pace of the cars to bring each group up to speed to try and get through this, and have yet to hear exactly where they're going to release them. They might just wait till start finish, about 4 miles away. Okay, so it looks like they are going to restart at the traditional start finish, but they're picking up the pace of the field so they can get there under these safety car conditions. So, yeah, good start for Ken Copeland, able to pick up a spot or two. Rob Hartley also done a great job in his Orion BMW to pull up to that third spot. So we'll see how that plays out. And then if there is damage to Divac and Dragota in the M category, Michael Caffrey and Jackson Detmer are right there behind them to pounce on those positions should there be any issues with Dragota or Divac. And those guys, I believe, are the points leaders as well in the M category.
I was just gonna say, Larry, they're sitting right up the top of the point standings in GT3 AM. Currently Dragota, Divac, and Labano, who is sitting quite a bit off of the lead here. Matter of fact, I'm still showing. Labano, who started from the pit lane, still showing as a full lap down.
Yeah, he, I believe, also may have actually come in, possibly in, but we'll see how Labano's doing. But I think it's a good opportunity here for Jackson Detmer. He's sitting right now in fourth in that train of the M cars, all bunched together now. He comes in fourth in points in the M category. If there's any damage in front to Leo Dragota, to Dre Divac, and Labano now already behind him, it could be a great opportunity for Jackson Detmer. Get a good shot of him there as he's cruising along, waiting for this restart. In that number 77.
Go back to our leader, Ben Rose. And as he starts to bring the field and coming through the Porsche curves now. So we'll be going back to green flag momentarily. You can see is both he and Petrowski's trying to get a little bit of heat in the tires here as, running at these speeds for a lap or 2 laps gives a lot of time for the equipment to cool down.
Yeah. And given the conditions here at about 8 o'clock local time in southern France here, probably still a little bit of cold temps overall. I didn't see a lot of warming as they were doing their pre-green flag actual start, and that may have led to some of this, as we saw obviously a couple of slides and spins even through the Dunlop curves the opening lap. And of course, the big one. So everyone maybe will work a little bit harder now to make sure there's plenty of heat in the tires. Let's see if we're about to go green. All right, prototypes are green.
Green flag, and we are back underway here at Le Mans. The field now, probably the best opportunity they have to make up positions, starting to fan out. As Aaron Beaver gets around Ian Patience, moves the Cadillac driver up into third. Bailey Petrowski now dropping all the way back to fifth position, and what a start for Fernando Takahashi, who now moves up into second position, Larry.
Yeah, great start for the Porsche driver Takahashi to jump past to get all the way to that second spot. Petrowski, though, a little bit of sleep at the wheel there as the restart happened. Looks like he's doing fine now. Perhaps got caught out in the wrong gear and just got rushed by the field there of behind them of Takahashi and Beaver and Patience. But flashing now to the restart of the GT3s, it is Mike Dan, Ken Copeland leading the way in another spin.
And that's Leo Dragotta who's gone around. So Dragotta now falls all the way back to the back of the AM field here in the Dragon Sport Racing Machine. As we jump back to our GTP field, Aaron Beaver now gets around Ian Patience. So move Beaver now up into third, and a great restart for the Porsche driver is probably for the Cadillac driver, who started in 8th position and now finds himself in third. And although he's got Bailey Petrowski right on his six.
He's got the points leader now on his inside. Let's see how they do. Is there any patience, or does only one of them have patience going in through the chicane? Side by side, looks like they may be coming out of there clean. Copeland, though, using a bit of the draft and the grunt of the Mercedes motor to pull ahead of the Orion driver Mike Dam and put the Orion drivers now together in second and third. There's Jackson Detmers talking about him being an opportunity. Well, here you go. Opportunity is knocking, and he's answering. He's up to second now, just behind Michael Caffrey.
And those are your two leaders in AM.
Yeah. Flash a little further back. There's Russ Ruddock, kind of in a bit of a mixed race right now, as he's got David Payton in front of him and Jeff Brooks behind him. Brooks now is going to be on a bit of a recovery.
And there you can see Brooks pulls alongside, gets around Russ Ruddock fairly easily, tries to take a look to the inside of David Payton going into the chicane there, and ends up running wide. And as quickly as Jeff Brooks made up places, Larry, he now drops 5 just in that chicane.
Well, here they go around through the hairpin. Ian Patience now in that battle with Petrowski. Bailey Petrowski just hounding him as they come out of that hairpin and start heading up towards the Indianapolis curve. Patience holding his line. They've got a Ryan Reisman right behind them should either of these two slip up. Around the left-hander at Indianapolis. I think that's or we're in the Porsche curves. Perhaps we're in the curves. So many corners. All right, so yeah, Patience done well through there to get things gathered back up, and now he's going to try and make a run at Aaron Beaver up in front of him. They go through the final chicanes on this first flying complete lap.
Still Ben Rose. It took us a while, Larry, but we now have 3 laps in the books. As we're now more than 15 minutes into this race, as we jump back over to the battle for the lead in GT3 Pro. Mike Dam has gotten back around Ken Copeland's Mercedes with his wingman Hartley there sitting in third.
Yeah, Copeland's got to feel a little bit ganged up on. He's got the 2 Orions around him, and then he's got the 2 Wrong Stuff drivers just behind them. So it is just a whole gang of teams, except for Copeland, who's all by himself in that eSport Racer Mercedes. But he's certainly holding his own, had the lead for a minute, gave the lead back up on a track like this. That's going to happen. This is interesting now with 2 BMWs, a Mercedes, and 2 Porsches making up the top 5. Is one of those cars at an advantage like we saw a couple weeks ago where the Porsches seem to be doing better than the rest? That's the case again tonight. keep your eye on the drivers there in 4th and 5th. That's Moraes and Castro in their Porsches.
All right, as our GT3 drivers cross the line to start lap number 4. And wow, look at Hartley just sweeping through the Dunlop curve there to get ahead of Ken Copeland's Mercedes. So drop the Team Esport Racer now back into 3rd. As we've got 2 of our 3 Orion racers there sitting in the top 3.
Yeah, good start again for Hartley, especially, who did not have the best qualifying session, getting himself right now up into the top 2. So great opening up of laps for him, having avoided all of the madness behind him. Good start there. We did have a penalty assessed. Take a look down the list of who that penalty might have been on. That was on Jeff Brooks, actually given a 10-second post-race penalty for issues on the opening laps. He's currently sitting in 12th in the M category. Rough start for the Brooks brothers racing here tonight, of course, with Michael being caught up in the big one, and Jeff knocked back and now suffering a 10-second penalty.
Yeah, and Larry, as soon as you mentioned that penalty being assessed, Jeff Brooks brought his Porsche down the pit lane, and he is currently in his pit stall, as is Dre Divock, and I suspect that both those drivers are trying to get some damage repairs done here early on.
Divock for sure had some heavy damage. So we kind of figured maybe he'd be coming in. We'll keep an eye on that battle because he came into tonight 2nd in points, right behind, of course, Leo Dragotta. Dragotta has had his issues as well. He is continued, so we'll keep our eyes on Leo if that car's running in straight form. But it might be a really good, like I mentioned, Jackson Detmer to the lead. He came into tonight in 4th. Good opportunity for him. As we flash around here, there is Detmer in that BMW.
Yeah, and Detmer, again, Larry, really grabbing the bull by the horns. He got around Michael Caffrey. He is now your leader in GT3 AM, and he's opened up a pretty good gap back to the Mercedes driver. You can see there as Caffrey now probably a good 8-9 car lengths back at this point. As they come in over to the Mulsanne curve. The
Caffreys here coming out from Australia, in fact. So it is, let's see, somewhere about what are we? The wee hours of the early morning there in Australia, maybe like noontime-ish going on in Australia. So awesome to see them joining us here, and Caffrey up there running in 2nd spot. My lucky guess, it's 11:50 a.m. in Melbourne. Quick math in my head. Not even sure they're from Melbourne, but I was close.
All right, as we watch here, we've got Russ Ruddock, John Casey, and then Chuck Lopano, who had gone into the pits after that lap 1 turn, that lap 1 incident. And he started from the pit lane tonight, currently sitting 6th in AM. But let's jump back. Let's jump back to the battle between Patience and Petrowski, the 2 Ps. And looks like Ian Patience might have gotten a little better of the incident there, but I'm sure the stewards are not going to look very kindly.
And I'm already over the driver chat hearing apologies. So let's see how that actually plays out from a steward's point of view. But that moves Petrowski all the way down to 7th. So we'll see if the points leader can recover. He's got any damage. You can see him shaking the car back there. And there you go. They're going to look at it. Let's check this replay on this one.
As we've got Patience to the left, Petrowski to the right.
Yeah.
You know, I don't know. It looks like Patience, he got over the curbing on driver's left, and you saw the nose just come right across the track. And, we'll let the stewards figure that one out. Looked like Petrowski had given him plenty of room as they had gone through the curve there.
Well, they are going to go ahead and assess a penalty on that one. And it looks like that penalty, actually, that might be a different penalty.
That's different. That's on the 72 machine. That is Adam Ross in the number 9 Cadillac.
Yeah, that must be from an earlier incident. They are still looking at the Petrowski Patience incident there. All right, so this is interesting to see now because you've got Castro now ahead of Hartley. Remember, at the start of this lap, you had
was
Hartley
up in second.
exactly, with Copeland kind of then in between, ahead of Iago Moraes and Augusto Castro. Hartley now has been shuffled to the back of this front five train.
And quite a bit back. And you can see here Copeland making up a lot of ground on Mike Dam now. Only about 3 car lengths back. And there you go. It's, I was going to say directly behind Moraes. He's got the bit of separation here, but Hartley making a move now on Augustin Castro. So move Hartley back up to 4th.
Good move for Hartley there. Use the draft, make the leapfrog. Nobody's compromised through the chicane. All 3 of these guys would like to catch back up and make it a nice solid 5-car train, but they may have to work together just a little bit on these long straightaways and get through those corners clean so they can catch up to the front too. Mike Dan and Ken Copeland, as we flash back here in the order. Russ Reddick now still chasing Peyton out in front of him. You can see him with, of course, John Casey behind him. So Reddick in that BMW is surrounded by Ferraris right now. And then you got Chuck Labano in that red Ferrari just behind them. So there's a whole flock of Ferraris chasing down that one BMW of Russ Reddick.
All right, so Ruddick gets around Peyton. Casey follows him through, takes Ruddick's draft, gets around the Ferrari of David Peyton as well. So Peyton, who's running 6th in pro, right in the middle of that pack, just ahead of Chuck Labano. Quite a distance now back from the rest of the GT3 Pro field. He has, besides Ruddick and Casey, he's got 3 more AM drivers ahead of him here in the run back up to the pro drivers.
Well, don't look now, but I saw just behind a couple of Ferraris of Casey, Peyton, and Labano is a Leo Jagoda on his own recovery. He just took a 1.5 seconds out of that group in front of him on the last time around. So keep your eye on him. He's dragging with him the other Porsche driver, Shad Curran. But keep your eye on Leo. He's on his way through the field, just about a 1.5 seconds behind this pack we're looking at right now.
In fact, you can see the area.
Yep, there he is.
There's the
Look at that damage. That left front, though, he's driving this way even with all that extra rub that he's been taking. Oh, big spin in front of him. I think that might have been David Peyton
that went around.
Yeah. So takes that DTD driver. Didn't see any contact for him. He should be able to re-up and continue. Takes it out of that fight, though, with Casey and Labano. Yeah, look at Leo, though. He's moving pretty quick right now, and I got segment times up here. He's taking about 4 or 5 tenths out of these guys in front of him at every segment.
Oh, my.
Yeah, he is on a mission. That's going to equate to about 2 seconds a lap, the way he's moving. Look at this. Through these Porsche curves, he is absolutely roaring through there in his Porsche.
Well, we'll see, Larry, how that car handles over the long run, because I'm noticing he's getting a little bit of push on the right-handers. And we can see that there was quite a bit of damage in the left front there. That may end up being a liability as this race goes on. Yeah. But in the meantime, look at how much room he has closed up now. That's
amazing.
Wow. On Labano and Ruddick, right up to the back of them as they come out of the Ford chicane and onto the front straight.
Yeah, this lap for him should be one of the quickest of the race. Yeah, 3:59. The guys in front of him are 4:02s and 4:03s. He just took 3.5 seconds out of that couple of Ferraris that he's just gained up onto with Russ Ruddick. He's already, look at him, just already trying to get past that BMW here through the Dunlop curves. And then right in front of him, they've got, of course, Chuck Labano, the Canadian there in his Ferrari. He's going to be hounding Ruddick first. Nice livery there. Nice bright, kind of almost like a pinkish on the one side, orange on the other there for the Dragon Sport Racing entry. Pretty cool looking. All right, well, back to the front of the field. This is actually not the front. This is the next 3. You've got Dam and Copeland just out in front. This is Iago Moraes and Rob Hartley now just pulling away a little bit from Augustin Castro, the other wrong side driver just behind them. These guys trying to keep pace with Mike Dam and Ken Copeland. Dam is the fastest car on the track, having run fastest GT3 on the track, having run a 354. So we'll keep our eyes on them. But Moraes and Hartley keeping up a pretty solid pace, just about a second or so back from what the guys in front of them. They're going to have to work together if they want to try to have a chance to win this race. All right, so you're watching the patience of the that Orion driver Rob Hartley here, just kind of sticking in the shadows of Moraes, knowing he can't pass him here. It's not worth it. They can work together better if they can draft and leapfrog in the clean spots. Moraes leads them now down this long straightaway section. Down towards
set up for the
Indianapolis.
set up for the first chicane.
Should be Indianapolis coming up. A little left kink followed by that, right kink followed by the left 90.
And there
again,
you go, Larry,
patience.
taking the penalty, the 21 machine, getting
That
a
would be Ian.
post-race time penalty.
Yep, that's Ian Patience going to be given that penalty for the contact with Billy Petrowski. Petrowski, I'm not sure how well he's driven right now, but let's keep our eyes on this battle, though, as it does look like perhaps Hartley's going to try and pull up alongside Moraes as they head towards the Porsche curves. Moraes, is he going to let him through, or is he going to fight him? I don't see much give. He does let him through. These two drivers know it's a long race. They're now about 5 seconds behind Mike Dan and Ken Copeland for the lead in the GT3 race. But behind them, the war is still on between the Porsche and the BMW of Dragota and Ruddick. Labano is right in their sights too.
Yeah, and on the last lap, Labano had sliced past Ruddick and left Dragota there to try and pick up the pieces. And Dragota has had some challenges here for the last 3/4 of a lap or so. We'll see as they come out of the curves and head over towards that final chicane, whether or not perhaps coming onto the short front straight here into Dunlop is going to be the opportunity that the Dragon Sport racer needs.
Yeah, and I do still wonder if that car has just enough damage to be kind of making the steering awkward. He's not able to get the corner exits that he wants in certain places. So we'll keep an eye on Dragota for that. As
it looks like maybe I'm wondering if Labano had a slowdown penalty or he just got a very poor jump out of the chicane. As now Ruddick pulls right up to the back of him.
Yeah, he may have as they come out of that final chicane. Doesn't look like he served much of a penalty if he had to, because he's able to maintain the position here. Ruddick and Dragota not able to capitalize.
And there you go. We can see Labano starting to open that gap up again. All right, if we jump over to our GTP field here, Ryan Reisman, who we're on board with right now, and just ahead of Reisman is Aaron Beaver, or probably that's actually Ian Patience and Ryan Reisman. So Patience, who does have a 10-second time penalty coming to him, and the number that white with red stripe number 21 machine just behind the black 414 Cadillac of Reisman.
So one thing we haven't talked yet about tonight is fuel strategies. And being a 90-minute race, there's a little bit of a wrinkle to this tonight.
Yeah, definitely, Larry. And let's talk a little bit about it before we go to break here. Because, we're I think still quite a ways out from our first GTP pit stops. But they're, typically for most of our World Challenge races with those 75-minute races, our drivers are usually going to take one stop and maybe a splash of gas. The way it's looking here for the GTP cars, they can only do about 12 laps and on a set of one tank of gas, and we see the race running probably around 25 to 26 laps for them. So it's probably going to be a full stop for a full tank. We'll see our drivers probably try to make it as close to 12 laps as possible. They're currently working lap 8. But then they're going to have to take a splash at the end, and our GT3 drivers, they can do 23 laps, and so on a tank of gas. But let me try that again. 9 laps on a tank, There we go. And so, they're also going to have to take 2 stops, but it's going to be a lot more than just a splash. I think they've got a lot more variability.
Yeah, so it offers some options here. You might see a GTP come in at lap 11, or it might be they'll wait till lap 12. The GT3s, you might see them maybe as early as, I don't know, lap 6, and they're currently working lap 7. So it's possible you could see some GT3s starting something early, probably a couple more laps, because they're currently finishing lap 8 now in the GTPs.
Right.
Before we see them possibly all the way out as 12. So, interesting now that everybody's going to have to take 2 stops tonight. Now it comes how well can you execute it? Did you remember to turn on or off your tire changes? And do you get your fuel loads just right?
That's right. All right. Well, let's do this, Larry. Why don't we take a quick break, and hopefully we'll be back in time to see how these pit stop strategies play out for both our GTP as well as our GT3 drivers here at Le Mans, where you are watching round number 4 of the Extreme Motorsports Ricmotech World Challenge, presented by Performa Elite, Buttkicker, and the MRA Advisory Group, and we'll be right back.
Ricmotech high-performance sim racing equipment. Whether you're just looking to have fun, train for race day, or become a serious esports competitor, Ricmotech has you covered. Hundreds of name brand parts. Support from experts that love sim racing. Trusted by the pros. There's only one place to go, Ricmotech.com.
The search is over. The most comprehensive league scoring solution is here, with the ability for multi-level championships, custom incident tracking, post-race time penalties, support for heats, drop weeks display, multi-car team scoring, advanced web widgets, rookie championships, a custom paint system, and load those results in seconds. Visit extremescoring.info today.
All right, and welcome back to the Circuit de la Sarthe, here for round number 4 of the Extreme Motorsports Ricmotech World Challenge, presented by Performa Elite, Buttkicker, and the MRA Advisory Group. I'm Greg Ginsburg, along with Larry Lefty McLeod. And Larry, so just as we went to break, Ian Patience, lack of patience got the better of him once again.
Yeah, as he was coming up into the final chicanes there, up on the inside of Ryan Reeves. And they have now, I believe, they're about to assess a penalty possibly on Ian Patience for that. It's under review, and yep, they did just assign that. It'll be a drive-through penalty on Ian Patience for that move with Ryan Reeves. And what they may not have noticed, or at least aren't looking at yet, was the near contact between Russ Ruddock and Ian Patience about maybe 10 seconds before that. Russ, taking evasive maneuvers, was able to get off track and back on without too much loss. But yeah, rough a couple laps here for Ian Patience, as he's now got to serve a drive-through penalty.
Jeez. So when it rains, it falls, as they say here. Something about the rain. Oh, yeah, that's rain in Spain, not in France. Never mind.
And so Leo Dragotta, we just had a shot of him a moment ago. Dragotta was able to get around Chuck Lobano and obviously Brockway, who was shoved off the track a few minutes ago.
Yeah, who had to worry about some other things at that point.
So Dragotta now up to the 4th spot in the M category, behind John Casey and Chris Peters, and of course Jackson Detmer, who's kind of pretty far up the road there currently leading in the M category. And then, of course, in the Pro category, it's still Mike Dam and Ken Copeland out in front, about 3 seconds between them, before you then get about another 6 seconds back to Rob Hartley, Yaga Mores, and Augustin Castro finishing your top 5 in the Pro as pit stops look like they're underway.
Yep, here we go, heading into the pit lane. Michael Caffrey pitting in his Mercedes.
He may have already been in. I think that might be...
yeah, that's true. John Casey now pitting in from 3rd.
Oh, yeah.
In AM.
That was him and his Ferrari we saw pulling in. It looks like Labano may have already been in earlier.
Yeah, I think so. Yeah, Labano had been in on lap 1. Greg Brockway now into the pits as well.
All right, so here's Leo Jagoda chasing Chris Peters. Those 2 Porsches now running 2nd and 3rd with the pit stop coming for Brockway.
Yeah, and you can see here that Detmer has opened up a very large lead here, almost 20, a little bit over 20 seconds over the pair, actually the trio here of Peters, Dragotta, and Labano. And look,
that's Adam Ross.
Yeah. Oh yes. Oh, I'm sorry. Yes, it is. And
yeah. And this is actually for position, not lapping, because Ross had been down. This is true position on the track, although he is a GTP, of course, but he needed to get through there fairly. They don't have, there's no blue flag happening between them on that move.
Well, it was interesting there to watch Dragotta try to use his draft to get by. And so Ross currently sitting 24th overall, 8th currently in Pro, or probably in GTP. But let's jump back here to Ricmotech. And is that Petrowski directly behind, or is that that is Bailey Petrowski? Yeah. So it's Ricmotech and Petrowski. This is now the battle for 5th, or the spoil. Ian Patience's spoils, I guess, would be the other way to put it here.
Petrowski may have some lingering damage. We know his pace is really good. He qualified up in the front row. He's back here running 329s, while Ben Rose and Fernando Takahashi are running 24s and 25s. Right. So I still wonder if that's not maybe just traffic, or if he does, in fact, have a little bit of damage on the front of that Acura. We'll see what he does here as he's trying to get around Ryan Ricmotech, and if he's able to, but there may be something lingering there for the 3-time winner so far this season. Kind of a rough start here for the GTP side of D2D, D2D team, with, of course, Bobby Childs having that lap 1 incident spin, and then Petrowski getting caught up in a later incident, so not having the start that they had on their way to the podium last time out.
And even Larry, if that car is experiencing issues, and we talked about this, obviously I wasn't here for round number 3, but for round number 2, we were talking about how smooth Bailey Petrowski is, and how few hand movements he makes. And you can see here, obviously, as they come through the Ford chicane, how you have to try and get that car to rotate. But everywhere else, just these tiny little inputs with the hands, usually 1 input per corner, and you don't see a lot of stress there. He just kind of turns the car in.
Yeah, very smooth.
And just one arc through a corner.
And you can watch him as he comes through all of these sweeping elements here at the start of a lap, as he's really gained right back up on Ricmotech, as he had dispatched Mike Dam just a little bit ago, going through that field. But look at him here, and very quick. And speaking of Mike Dam, he has brought it in for his pit stop.
As has Copeland and Mores and Hartley
9.
And Castro. Yeah. All the drivers up at the front of the GT3 Pro field
right on
now
schedule.
Head to the pit lane, and we're starting to see the same with AM. Detmer is in. Chris Peters, Leo Dragotta, Chuck Labano, all heading to the pit lane as well. On lap number 9, right when we said they're probably hitting the end of that window.
Yep. All right, so Ricmotech now, Petrowski just hounding him. We'll see if there's any sort of aero damage, perhaps preventing Petrowski from getting an advantage on the straight.
And I think that's very much the issue, Larry, because as we've been watching, and I wouldn't say that that Reisman is driving. I don't think he's driving a defensive race.
No.
I just don't think his lines are nearly as tight as Petrowski, and yet Petrowski cannot seem to make up an inch on that car.
Yeah, we'll see here. Even with the draft, you would expect that he would be able to kind of go by him down here in these sections of the Mulsanne Straight. He has not been able to.
No.
So instead, he's kind of just sitting behind. I'll be interested to see if Bailey chooses to do any damage repair when he comes in for his fuel stop, probably soon as they're finishing their 11th lap. We know they can run, we believe, 12.
Around 12.
Yeah, they could stop here at 11, given the expectation for 26. He could stop now at 11, do another 12, and then come in for a splash and go towards the end. So we'll see what these two drivers choose to do on this this next time by.
All right, Jeff Brooks is into the pit lane for his second stop of the evening. The first stop was for damage repair. Chris Peters completing his service, and he is out.
Well, a couple of the drivers I can see are continuing. One of them is Bobby Childs, is out on track now after the long damage
Extended
repair that he
repairs,
took.
yeah.
There he is. Yep. And in fact, he's only a couple seconds behind Adam Ross. You can see right there in front of him, who had just made his way through a little bit of traffic. Bobby now right there with Mr. Ross.
Wow.
They're about 2 laps down from some of the other GT3 cars and about 3 to 4 laps down from the front of the GTP field.
And you can see the little bit of disgust in Bobby's eyes there as he had a little bit of a braking moment there as he's trying to get back up to speed, and I think just try to get back in the rhythm after spending almost 20 minutes on the pit lane. It's got to be difficult at this point to just go back out and then to start clicking off laps as we watch the wrong stuff pair here of Mores and Castro try to make up some ground on Robert Hartley as they've fallen now almost 5 seconds back from the BMW driver.
The Porsches just don't seem quite as strong here at Le Mans as they did at Road Atlanta a few weeks ago. Instead, it's BMWs leading both the AM and Pro categories. The Mercedes also looking like they're pretty strong. The Ferraris looking decent tonight. The Porsches are just maybe adequate. Maybe they're not quite there. As Mores, we've seen Mores at some tracks and some races. He is unstoppable. Tonight, looking a lot more human here.
Yeah.
Kind of in this 4th spot, really not able to make any ground on those two, on the 2 Orion drivers and that eSport racer Copeland in front of him. But between he and Castro, they may be doing a little bit of fuel save, maybe try and stretch an extra lap out of this, or maybe make that fuel stop itself a little bit shorter when they get to them shortly. As I don't know that these guys, I don't know, they've taken, I guess they did take maybe one stop.
Well, they both had come in just a few moments ago,
Yeah. So they're certainly not fighting between Mores and Castro.
No. All right, and this is the battle for 5th and AM with Russ Ruddick, who has recovered from his run-in with the 21 machine a couple laps ago, and then Shad Curran. And these, not only these drivers, but if you take a look, and I think a lot of this, Larry, of course, has to do with some of the attrition that we've had in the GTP field, as well as that first lap incident that we had in GT3. But Curran has made up 14 positions from the start. Russ Ruddick, 17 positions. John Casey and Labano are just ahead, 17 and 16. And, it almost makes Leo Dragota, who's currently running 2nd in AM with only 11 spots picked up, it's kind of the underachiever in the field.
Yeah, a lot of big movers with that very large opening lap wreck. They took out a big number, and looking at the front of Dre Divak's car, you can tell he has definitely had a lot of damage and a lot of activities tonight in that portion.
See if anybody's hanging out in the front there.
Don't see any bodies in the front at this point.
Yeah, that's definitely with all the damage on the front of the car. That cannot be a strong car in a straight line. And he's sitting back in 8th currently in AM, so kind of playing that out.
All right,
All
so
right,
you
coming
can
down the pit lane now, Larry, is both Ben Rose and Fernando Takahashi. Our 2 leaders coming in, again, right towards what we thought would be the end of, basically the end of their pit window, right at the end of lap number 12. And Ryan Reeves comes in as well. Ben Rose now pits in the number 5 machine.
And Aaron Beaver choosing not to stop. Or is he has not stopped yet. So perhaps thinking that lap under yellow was enough to just sip a little fuel and be a little more efficient. But he's going to try and go one more time around and make it that 13th lap. There's a shot of Ken Copeland, currently second. Lost out a little bit over the last half an hour or so as he's fighted back about 5 seconds from the GT3 leader, Mike Dam. Copeland in that Mercedes, though, a little healthy buffer behind him to Rob Hartley, and then further back to Castro and Moraes.
As he is coming up on Jeff Jacobs. Jacobs currently sitting 6th in AM.
He's a couple laps down as well as Jacobs.
Yeah, he is. Yeah, he's 2 laps down currently.
So Copeland's going to have to come up with a strategy here to try and shave about 5 seconds over the next 40 minutes or so. He's going to try and run down Mike Dam for this race win. Of course, they'll each have one more pit stop left. But Copeland's going to see what kind of strategy can he have to find just a little bit each lap. Where is that time? Is it traffic management? Is it just raw pace? Is it fuel stops? We'll have to wait and see, as there's just about, we'll call it about 43 minutes or so, depending on where the car, it could be anywhere from 42 and a half minutes to about, 47 minutes, depending on where the leader in the race is when the flag comes out.
All right, Chuck Lobano coming up on the Ferrari of John Casey once again. You can never tell what Chuck Lobano is thinking there with the, I think we said it last week in the Sports Car series with his Stormtrooper get up there.
Well, teammates here, so I'm sure they're going to be maybe just a little bit more cautious with each other than maybe they would with the true enemies in the field. Not that there's any real enemies here, but the 2 Frito Sport drivers probably going to work together a little bit to not take each other out. We don't want to have a Frito on Frito violence.
Would you call that a salsa or a? All right, let's take a look here at as we see some Mike Dam running all by himself now. This is under replay, and he gets very loose, goes for the drift, does the tank slapper, and comes to a stop. And that now moves, Larry, Ken Copeland to the lead in GT3 Pro. Robert Hartley gets around. Augustin Castro now moves up to 3rd, and Mike Dam is quickly, as we said, he's got a 5-second advantage over Ken Copeland. Well, Mike Dam now on the back foot, currently running 4th.
He's 11 seconds back now from Copeland, the leader. So while Dam had built about a 5-second lead, I don't know that he could build an 11 one to try and get all the way back up in here. And you could see Yago Moraes, one of his rivals, we'll call it, friendly rivalries, right there behind him. And while Yago Moraes was playing nice with Augustin Castro, his teammate, I don't know that he's going to be playing nearly as nice with Mike Dam from Orion here in this little battle. And he probably knows the more that Moraes does slow down Mike Dam, the better it is now for Moraes' teammate Augustin Castro to get away. Because in this case, the Brazilian and the Argentinian are going to try to work together. They may not get along on the football pitch, but they're going to get along here at Le Mans. Yeah, Moraes is Brazilian. Had to find a way to work that in.
Yeah, that was a good job.
All right, so far, Dam with the advantage. I do wonder if that BMW's got just a little bit extra grunt here tonight to pull off of some of these out of these chicanes to just have maybe a bit of an advantage, or maybe it's even got a top speed advantage. I'm not really sure, but
I think that's where the advantage has been, Larry. And as we watch here. Certainly Moraes doesn't have anything for Mike Dam in a straight line.
Yeah.
But You know, we also see here where Dam is starting to close things down on Augustin Castro just a little bit further ahead.
And of course, all this moves Rob Hartley, Mike Dam's teammate, up into that second spot. Now he's 6 seconds back from Ken Copeland, the new race leader. But so now you've got the Esport Racer, and then you got Orion, Wrong Stuff, Orion, Wrong Stuff, right in behind them. All the teammates finally separated.
And we should mention Travis Schwenke, who was our winner last round at Road Atlanta, was caught up in that lap 1 incident, and he finds himself, he's on track, but he is now 5 laps down after having taken almost 20 minutes of repairs.
And interestingly, do you know where he is on track? In fact, ironically,
he is actually coming up where he should be in the Porsche curves at this moment.
Yeah, and I believe he's right there in between his teammates. Yes. I think he may even have Rob Hartley just in front or just behind him, so that could be interesting. There is Mr. Hartley, and you can see there in front of Mr. Hartley, I believe, is Mr. Schwenke.
There it is. Yeah, it just came right underneath the camera.
Currently, Mr. Schwenke right there, of course, with Jeff Jacobs, but perhaps that could be a bit of a tow down some of these Mulsanne straightaways here shortly and help out Hartley try and close that gap up into Ken Copeland. So there could be some teamwork here coming very, very soon here in the Orion ranks. Yeah, look at that. He's just going to sit there behind Jeff Jacobs going around here through the Dunlop curves, and you can see back there. Yeah, the teammate might need some help.
You know, and you look there, and frankly, Ken Copeland doesn't seem all that far ahead when you look at that shot. And there's our leader, Copeland.
Yep, in one of the few Mercedes in the field. Not too many of these tonight. He's in one of them. I think Michael Caffrey was in the other. Caffrey's had his issues tonight already, and he looks like he's in a long pit stop, but Copeland now the lone remaining Merc in the field. There you go. Jeff Jacobs going to go ahead and allow the BMW to go on by. There goes Bobby. So we talked about Bobby Childs on a bit of a recovery after his long stop. There he goes on past Greg Brockway. Brockway, of course, in one of the Fredo Sport cars. We saw earlier Casey Labano in the other Fredo Sport entries. This one, the purple one, Greg Brockway. Right behind him. And the other Ferrari should be, I think, Philip Caffrey.
I was just going to say, I think that's the 61 of Caffrey.
Yep, the other Australian in the field. I assume related to Michael Caffrey that we were talking about earlier, who came into this race driving a Merc. And at one point, I think was even leading the M category before his demise in this race. But yeah, there you go, from the Dominate Racing, Caffrey. We'll have to get a check on whether that's a father-son or a brother-brother or cousin or whatever these Caffreys are. But we do know they hail from Australia, so nice middle of the afternoon on a Tuesday. Great to see them joining this league. I don't recall how many races they've run so far, but it's great to have folks now from all around the world. We talked about the Argentinian, the Brazilian, of course, plenty of Canadians in the field, along with a lot of Americans, and here we've got a couple from down under. Get almost an easy pass there on Brockway.
Yeah.
They go through that would be the Daytona chicane, if I got that right. I guess we're calling that these days.
Yeah, I was to say, I think that's the new name for it.
Mm-hmm.
It mirrors the Le Mans chicane that has been added to Daytona.
All right, so the overall race leader there, Ben Rose, DNA Motorsports, just picking through some of the GT3 traffic right there around Russ Ruddock. Then with about a 10-second advantage right now on Fernando Takahashi. Remember, they came into the pits nearly together. So a good second stint in this race so
and
far.
there's about 4 seconds separating them at the time, and so we can see Rose has definitely picked up the pace on that last lap alone. Rose was almost a full second faster than Takahashi.
Yeah, so Rose, a really good pace, although the fastest car on the track right now is Bailey Petrowski, who's gotten himself up to third. He's about 25 seconds back, and I'm going to say he just picked up about 2 seconds on the leaders. I would not count Mr. Petrowski out yet.
Yeah, and I'm wondering, Larry, if let's take a look. Well, his pit stop times are actually very similar to both Rose and Takahashi. Actually, a couple seconds faster than those two. So certainly wasn't taking on any repairs.
Did not look like it. So he's got some pretty good pace, a nice quick pit stop. Not too short, as it looks like if I look at pit times. Aaron Beaver might be on a different pit strategy than the others. Right. But all these guys, Ben Rose, Fernando Takahashi, and Billy Petrowski, in that kind of mid 40-second range. So this could be interesting for Petrowski if he can continue this pace and pick its way through traffic like he is doing. Ben Rose at some point is going to have to probably realize, look at his relative, look at the standings, and see that Petrowski is probably the one he may have to worry about with Fernando, as we're watching there. Fernando, the other Brazilian in the field, along with Iago Moraes. Fernando kind of wedged between Rose and Petrowski. All three of these guys showing very strong pace right now as we approach the end of the second two-thirds, or the end of the second of our two-thirds of this race. Quick math. 60 minutes, 90 minutes,
30 to go.
I know math is your strong suit. Maybe you can help me out.
No, this is math I could do right as we hit 58.00. That's 32 remaining. Now, if it was only a 75-minute race, I would have been lost. All right, let's jump back over, Larry, here. And Hartley still almost 5 seconds in arrears of Ken Copeland, our leader. And we still see Travis Schwenke there trying to pull his teammate up and along. And interestingly enough, Travis Schwenke has been getting closer to Copeland there. That last time by was almost a full second faster than our leader.
Yeah, running in the 54s, but so has Agustin Castro and Mike Dam, the Argentinian and the Canadian, are both running faster than our leader right now. So keep your eye on.
The only one who isn't, and technically he is Rob Hartley, who at that time by was about 0.6 faster, but all the other racers around him are quite a bit faster.
Yeah, they're all starting to bunch up just a little bit. So you got Castro about 2 seconds behind Hartley, but Castro only 2 seconds ahead of Dam. So you got this 2 by 2 by 2 gaps between them, between Hartley to Castro, Castro to Dam, Dam to Moraes behind him, and they're all about 5 seconds the closest back from Copeland. So Copeland doing what he can to run the good solid pace up at the front, but everybody behind starting to pick up just a little bit here as we approach the end of our second 30 minutes of these 90 for tonight's Le Mans race. Yeah, Castro very quick here tonight. Quickest lap of the race in a GT3 car belongs to, I'm trying to find it. Double check my score here. Was it the 354.11 or 353? 353.5 of Mike Dam.
From Mike Dam, yes.
Yeah, so that's about the fastest we have seen. And currently, Dam and Castro are running mid 54s to Copeland and Hartley's, low and high 55s. So there's Jackson Detmer. I had talked about him a little bit. He's the leader in the GT3 AMs, currently running 58s. Leo Dragota has made his way up to second spot. He's 24 seconds back. He's only running in the 57s. Leo's going to need some help if he wants to dig into this lead that Jackson Detmer has. John Casey currently third in the AM. Chuck Labano in the fourth spot. Good solid race here for Jackson Detmer. Again, good opportunity with some of the folks that came in with points advantages having faded a little bit. Jackson Detmer a good shot. And, of course, with things that have happened in the pro category, it puts Detmer just 6th overall in the GT3s. That's how they're scored, right? I mean, you could win the GT3 AMs, but you get more points if you beat some GT3 pros. So good opportunity tonight for the Elevated Esports Jackson Detmer. Back to Fritos.
As we still have Labano in lockstep with his teammate just ahead, John Casey. They are running third and fourth currently. Yeah, I think John Casey took a podium earlier on in the season. I think his first of the season. And Logano obviously looking to return the favor. Starting to look maybe a little bit more racy now that we've got the camera on.
Could be. I do wonder how many of these drivers have the audio of the broadcast on, just to listen in to know when they're on camera or not.
Well, the problem is if they're listening to YouTube, they're probably like 5 seconds
About 30
delayed.
seconds behind.
Yeah. All right, Jeff Jacobs brings his BMW down the pit lane as he comes in now for, I think, what will be his second stop.
He probably fueled up a little bit when he was in earlier for those repairs. Right behind him looks like Alexander Brown, that Canadian in there with the plaid livery on the car. He's coming in, another one who had some earlier stoppage and repairs to take on. He's also a couple laps down. He's actually another lap down further than Jeff Jacobs is. Leo Dragotta trying to stay out of the way of Bailey Petrowski. As I mentioned, Dragotta up to second in the AM class, 7th overall in the GT3s. On a heck of a recovery right now.
Yeah,
Though still running 57s.
Yeah, he's still running 57s, and I still say that he's got some issues that he's running that left front tire off. But looks like Jackson Detmer has decided to respond a little bit to the times that Dragotta has been putting in. And that last time by ran a 57.1, almost 0.8 of a second faster than Dragotta.
Yeah, that's some quick laps. Looking down the order here to see in the GT3 AMs who might be the fastest on track, and that belongs right now to Jeff Brooks, who's running times as fast as the GT3 pros right now. Brooks, again, on his own recovery there you can see him in that number 85, the wrong stuff entry. He's found himself all the way down to 9th in the class. Currently, his next potential pass would be on Greg Brockway, who's about 5 seconds up the road in front of him. And he's currently turning about 7 seconds a lap faster than those big group in front of him. So we'll keep our eye on Brooks, see if he can maybe get up into possibly to a top 6 here before it's all said and done. We'll see. And there you can see his lap times even on the screen, running right there on his best. He's running his qualifying pace. 54.7 is his best, 55.0 last time around. So Brooks, pretty good pace here, 2/3 the way through.
And you can see the purple Ferrari of Brockway not that far ahead.
Yeah.
There he is.
And as I mentioned, it's about 7 seconds slower for Brockway than for Brooks behind him, and only 4 seconds between them. That tells me that half a lap away, Brooks could be on the wing of that Ferrari. Could be knocking. The next one beyond that, it's a little further up the road, would be Shad Curran. He's got another 12 or 14 second buffer. A little bit there for Curran ahead of that Caffrey, Brockway, and Brooks behind him. Hadn't talked much about Shad yet tonight in that number 2 Porsche. Just turned to his best lap of the race at 4:01. And I think he's one of our rookies here this season is Shad.
Indeed, the elevated esports driver. It is his first season racing with us. They're in the number 2
He's listed
machine.
in the bio in the GTP class, but clearly he's not driving a GTP car. He looked a lot more like a Porsche in GT3.
Different. It is not a BMW hybrid. Let's see, and he's out of Ohio and has been racing now in iRacing. This is his fourth.
There goes your race leader, Ben Rose, just up the inside of Augustin Castro. Castro going to see if he can draft him for all about the 3 seconds it takes for Ben to be doing about 190 miles an hour out in front of him. And yeah, already I'm looking at Ben Rose's speed. He's up over 189, 190, while Castro sits there at about 165 with Mike Dam right there under his rear deck lid. Underneath the trunk lid, the engine cover, I should say. Yalgo Morey's just back from them, and I want to say that's Fernando Takahashi just back behind me.
Just behind is there. He's coming up on him now.
Yeah.
There we go. Should see the quad headlights of Takahashi's Porsche now.
think just not too far behind them is a Bailey Petrowski, who is about a half a chicane straightaway there behind them, and Takahashi now having to wait through this chicane behind these GT3 cars. I would not be surprised to see Bailey Petrowski right on the heels of Takahashi by the time they get to the Porsche curves here on this lap. Takahashi knows it. He's taking little chances, ducking to the inside there of the GT3 cars. But yeah, Petrowski just about 12 seconds back from Takahashi.
And Dam's starting to take a couple looks to the inside on Augustin Castro. Again, Dam, your former leader, and on a bit of a recovery drive here, you know, as he dropped from the lead to fifth.
Well, his last lap through was a 53.7. Castro is a 54. Hartley's a 54. Your leader, GT3, turned a 55.4 for Ken Copeland. So Hartley, Castro, and Dam are all chipping away at Ken Copeland's lead, and they're all bunching up in that sort of order that might bring them a little closer together. They'll all have to take one more pit stop before it's all said and done. That could come probably at any time now, because we're inside the last 30 minutes. We'll see if any of these guys, perhaps Dam is doing a little fuel saving on this time up underneath Castro. I don't know how long he can do that before he's just going to have to come on in or to get on by.
I'd be interested to see where Schwenke is now in comparison to Copeland. Let's see.
I think he's further back now.
He's a little bit further back. He's dropped a little bit off of Copeland, but he's also separated himself out from his teammate Hartley here as well. Matter of fact, I think Hartley is now ahead of him on track.
Yeah, Schwenke may have done his fuel stop, and that might have put him in a different position. But either way, he's no longer near Hartley or Dam. Hartley, though, just 3.5 seconds now behind leader Copeland. Again, all of these drivers, Copeland, Hartley, Castro, Dam, and Moraes, are going to have to make one more stop. So we'll see. It's not going to be this lap as they just passed pit in. But Castro is in.
Yeah, I was going to say, Castro just brought his car down the pit lane. He is the only one in the top 5.
Interesting.
Should mention that Hartley was almost a half second faster again than Copeland, and has knocked a little bit more out of that lead, down from 4 seconds to a little bit over 3.
Copeland responded, though. His last time by was in the high 54s, but as you said, Hartley picked up another half a second. Mike Dam basically matching Ken Copeland's time, and Dam won't have the tow hook in front of him of Augustin Castro now that Castro's pulled into the pit. So this will be interesting in these last 20 minutes or so. Can the two Orion drivers, now Hartley and Dam, catch up to Copeland, or can Castro get back in there after the pit stop exchange and maybe have something to say about this? It's going to be pretty interesting as we flash back here to the bag of Fritos, and these two guys are just, nose to tail, these two teammates in their Ferraris. I don't want to say it's getting corny between them, but the jokes are.
Maybe things are getting a little chippy. Yeah. Speaking of chippy, Larry, there we go, side by side, Jeff Brooks and Philip Caffrey having a little bit of a tete-a-tete there. Maybe a little bit of contact from right front to left rear.
Yeah, well, I tell you what, Brooks has been one of the fastest cars on the track the last couple laps. He's about 5 seconds a lap faster than Caffrey most times around, so Caffrey might just want to yield, let this one go, and he does. Perhaps just better judgment by all. Good job there for Philip to go ahead and yield that spot and take his battles elsewhere, as Jeff Brooks now is going to try and set his sights about 12 seconds up the road to Shad Curran, as we've got another shot here of the two Frito boys, John Casey, of course, and teammate Chuck Labano right behind him. These guys currently 3rd and 4th. One of them could possibly get a podium. The other will not here in the GT3 AM ranks.
As we take a look at, there's Aaron Beaver in the 97 Air Kinetics Cadillac, and Ryan Reeves in the 22 machine.
Yep.
Starting to who's just come off came off his fastest lap of the race, about 7/10 faster than the Air Kinetics.
And you can see that's the battle for fourth in GTP, and right between them on track was Ken Copeland, your leader in GT3 Pro. So Copeland saying, hey guys, do what you got to do, just don't do it in front of me. Copeland trying to fend off a couple of Orion drivers and a couple of the wrong stuff drivers behind him. So Copeland doesn't need any distractions right now. Aaron Beaver, of course, would like to get up the road and get going here before Reeves catches him. Beaver in the Cadillac, Reeves in the Acura. All these guys right now in GTP are flying. All of them in the 325s. Ben Rose, Fernando Takahashi, Billy Petrowski, Ryan Reeves, Aaron Beaver, just a little over that. Look, 326s this time by. Ryan Reisman also in the 25s. Bobby Childs, a 25 last time by. So there's some fast laps happening right now in the GTPs.
And you know, Larry, just visually watching these GTP cars, watching Beaver and Reeves when they went through the Porsche curves, and you can even see it right here, how much compliance there is in the suspension of these cars. These GTP cars are really leaning over into these corners, and you can see just how much speed they are actually cornering with here as Robert Hartley as well as Iago Mores come down the pit lane for their second stops of the night. In the case of Hartley, I think this will be his second stop. That's going to move Mike Dam now up into the lead, up in the second behind Ken Copeland, our leader, but quite a distance back, still about 5.5 seconds back from the Mercedes driver. And those two drivers are yet to take their final pit stops, as we now have just a touch more than 15 minutes remaining.
All right, so let's see how this shakes out now with Castro having stopped before Mores.
And also mentioned Jackson Detmer pits in from the lead in GT3 AM. And he still has, I think, around, he's still got a good distance on Dragotta, but no, Dragotta takes over the lead as Detmer finishes his pit stop. Both Casey and Labano going to be pitting in from third and fourth respectively. The two teammates there looking for their final pit stop.
All right, so Dragotta, for the moment, assumes the lead here in GT3 AM. We do expect he'll have to take one more stop. We'll see how short he can make that, how much ground he can gain on Detmer. It's going to take a lot of ground. Detmer's advantage was pretty strong before he stopped.
Yeah, he's got 22 seconds on him for the moment. And
pit stops are probably close to a minute, though.
Minutes, exactly. I was going to say Detmer was on the pit lane for just a touch under 58 seconds, about 19 seconds in the box.
So right now, going to plan for Jackson Detmer. He's just going to circle the big loop here a couple more times. We're going to try and see is the leaders, of course, in the GTP is turning about 3.5 minutes with about 15 minutes to go. I don't know, about 5 more laps, depending on where they are. And then probably only about 3 or 4 laps left for our almost 4-minute lap times popping up for our GT3s. Copeland still losing ground to Mike Dam. Dam took another half a second out, currently 5.5 seconds back. And those two we know each have to make one more stop. And we know those Orion boys are pretty quick at pit stops. So we'll keep our eyes on that.
On fuel.
Yeah, we'll let you know when we get close to that. They are currently about somewhere back near the Porsche curves. Could be coming in this time. Good shot of Petrowski. Still about 10 seconds behind Takahashi. He's taking a few seconds out. He did just turn fastest lap of the race by anybody, by his personal best, I should say, 23.8.
23.8, which is about 1.4, almost a second and a half faster than our leader Ben Rose is currently circulating at.
Petrowski has gone purple in the first 2 sectors of this lap. It gives you any indication.
So for all those laps where he was sitting back behind, I guess it was Ryan Reeves, and didn't seem to be able to make any kind of headway, to now be able to put on the jet seaters. Ken Copeland does hit the pit lane right at the end of lap 9. Like, damn, same thing. They're both now on the pit lane, separated by about 4 seconds.
Yeah, and I think on their first time, Copeland had the faster pit stop. Let's see if Dam can reverse that, maybe take a couple seconds out and make this a race while we keep our eyes on Castro and Hartley, who are out there circulating right now.
And there's Augustin Castro, who's
he's
just
about
behind Rob Hartley.
He's about 6 seconds back from Hartley. So the key is going to be Hartley relative. Remember, he was in second before these final pit stops started. So keep your eye on Hartley. And then, of course, Dam and Copeland, both in the pits. We'll see who exits first.
And we just saw Hartley head. Copeland is now out of the box. Mike Dam as well.
Mike Dam 2 seconds faster in his pit box. And look how close he is. Copeland's still going to come out ahead of him. Not by as much, though. May only be about 3 seconds.
By Dam.
And so Hartley's right there.
Hartley now moves up to second, and he is only a half a car, well, maybe 2 car lengths back from Ken Copeland.
I tell you what, the Orion guys did it again. Those pit stops were almost 2 seconds both for Hartley and Dam, faster than Copeland. And that right now is the difference. They went from about 5 seconds or so and 7 or 8 seconds back to now just about half a second and 2.5 seconds. We've got a 3-horse race here with just a handful of laps to go, with just about 15 minutes to go here at Le Mans.
You know, and we've seen, and here we go. Look at Rob Hartley at the ground that he makes up in the draft here.
That BMW.
And, you know, that the BMWs have shown to be the stronger chassis here tonight across the entire field. And Robert Hartley not wasting any time. He's on warm tires as he is now side by side with our leader Copeland.
Yeah, he is. He's going to keep hounding him, and if he does that, he knows he can bring his teammate up into this as well. So don't be surprised to see Mike Dam right up underneath these two, as Hartley going to stay in behind for the moment.
All right, as they come through the first chicane, and now they'll make the run down to the second chicane here.
They keep our eyes on Augustin Castro right behind them as well. If they slow down much at all, you can see that wrong stop Porsche getting closer.
And Hartley with a couple taps of the brakes there. I think he feels that he's got a little bit better pace than the Mercedes at this point.
Yeah, I also expect at some point here on the next lap or so is you're going to have a Bobby Childs in a GTP car coming up on these battles. As he's probably about a half a lap behind them, but we know that the pace those GTPs have, that'll just make things interesting.
And Copeland getting very defensive as they make their way over to the hairpin, over to Mulsanne.
Yeah, Hartley not pushing there, but look at that. He gets a much better exit in the BMW.
Much stronger exit as he turns in much later, straightens the car up, and it is a drag race down to Indianapolis.
Yep, I think the BMW has got the slight nose ahead, but the Mercedes is there. Oh boy, they're going to have this long run ending in the right kink and then that nice 90 left of Indianapolis. Meanwhile, look at Mike Dam closing ground with this giant wide draft of a BMW to Mercedes up in front of him. Inside is Copeland. He's going to duck in behind though.
There you go. And so now Robert Hartley from Orion Racing, he takes the lead, and look at the ground that Mike Dam was able to make up as those two cars went side by side for almost a mile. There, and Mike Dam now, he is right within shooting distance of Ken Copeland.
He sure is. He can feel the draft off the back of them, and if Hartley were to just lift in the middle of any of these curves, it will easily be a 3-horse race. I don't expect he will, though. I know that Hartley and Dam are teammates, but I don't think he really wants to help Mike Dam because he knows that Mike Dam is as good as anybody. The further back he can keep him for the next 10 minutes, the better shot he'll have of winning this GT3 Pro race. So we'll keep our eye on the strategy of Hartley up in front. Hartley may not have much choice. Dan may be coming either way. Castro also thinking maybe he's got a shot at this thing, just another 4 seconds back from there. Meanwhile, just a note, Jackson Detmer did assume the lead again once Dragotta did his pit stop. So it's Detmer, Dragotta, and now Chuck Labano. And then, of course, John Casey in the 4th spot in the GT3 AM. Labano and Casey, those teammates, those Ferraris, currently fighting for that 3rd and final podium spot.
There you go. Dam now right up onto the back of Copeland as they come out of the final corner and onto the front straight.
Yeah, look how fast those BMWs were through those chicanes. Hartley now way ahead of Copeland's Mercedes, and then damn, you saw how quickly he approached and got to the back of that Mercedes. These things are transitioning well tonight, as well as have some straightaway speed in those Orion BMWs.
And look at that. Just as they come through Dunlop, just how much ground that BMW makes up.
Putting power down. Now we'll see if Copeland can gather it here. It'd been looking good for so long, and just that little lengthy pit stop suddenly made this thing a three-way fight. Not even that long. He was 2 seconds longer, but that's all it took for the two teammates here from Orion to get right up there and now take the lead. And for Dam, trying to make it an Orion 1-2. Copeland can't do anything with the draft given to Dam. Maybe this helps Copeland. Maybe he can let Dam draft by, little leapfrog, go through the chicane. Maybe they'll leapfrog back, and then they'll be on the back of Hartley here in no time. As Petrowski makes his final pit stop, and I was wondering if he was going to need to do that. He's in there now for his final splash, pitting in from third in the GTPs. Not going to break away from this. Copeland going to stay in behind Mike Dam at this point as they head for the next chicane. BMW definitely have the legs tonight. Or this morning, depending on what hour of the day it is in Le Mans.
Wherever you may be.
Yeah, it's either morning in Australia or it's late at night if you're racing. I don't know if we have any Europeans in the field tonight.
No, just in the booth.
Yeah, just in the production truck tonight.
That's right. Sorry, Rick.
All right, good shot of Aaron Beaver now up to fourth with Petrowski's pit stop. And we'll see if any of the other GTPs will need to stop now as this finishes up lap 23 for Ben Rose and Fernando Takahashi. Keep our eye on those guys the next time by.
Yeah, we are getting towards the very end of their,
and
as they came in originally after 12 laps. We should be, they should be able to make one more lap, assuming they were running the same fuel savings.
Well, they're just finishing lap 23. Yeah, which means they have that option. They can come in a lap early. They can go one more lap. It may depend on what they feel the traffic is out in front of them. That could be a little bit of why Petrowski came in. Probably felt that was the best traffic position for him. As Aaron Beaver, Ryan Reeves, currently third and fourth, but after pit stops, fourth and fifth? Third and fifth, yes, with the Reisman back there. And but we'll see once they all have to stop again how that shakes down. I don't know that anybody can make it 2 more laps without stopping. I have a feeling that's what they're going to need to do, given the pace of this race with, we'll call it 5.5 more minutes on the clock. With Ben Rose and Fernando Takahashi 3/4 the way through a lap, probably looking at 2 full laps to go. That is literally going to be a splash and go on the final one. Did we have a Le Mans 24 end a couple years ago with the leaders a half a lap from the finish running out of fuel?
Running out of fuel, yeah, as a matter of fact, we did.
Could be seeing a repeat. Sometimes sims imitate real life. See who's got the guts, who thinks they've saved enough fuel to go 8 more miles. That's a long way to go, and considering the yellow, the full course caution was before their first pit stop, that would tell me they probably can't go 13 laps. Their better shot would have been in that first stint, considering they had help from the yellow.
Well,
but
there's one answer. Takahashi blinks.
But Ben Rose did not, so he'll probably plan on doing his after the 24th lap. He'll do that probably to make sure no one else gets the bonus point for leading the lap. That's a smart move if he can do it. Oh, look at that. Reeves is in. Aaron Beaver, a little bit of a head fake and stays out. That was interesting. Huh. That was a full-on Dominique Wilkins head fake there. Got the guy up in the air.
All right.
You know that reference? Then you were raised in the 80s on the NBA, just like
absolutely I was. All right, now side by side, the two teammates, Castro and Mores. Castro to the inside in the number 14 machine, gets around his teammate Yago Mores. That'll move Castro up into fourth position. And you can see hanging around just behind them, that I believe is Travis Schwenke, who is a number of laps down.
I don't think he's going to do anything to interrupt these two teammates currently fighting for 4th and 5th. Mores thinking he's got the advantage here. Mores says nope.
No.
A little bit of a slide tackle there on the pitch.
Castro gave him room, just enough room to hang himself. And Castro is...
no need to show the yellow card. We're okay.
Chicane.
I'm going to keep making football references. This would be interesting, though. These two teammates, and that is not how they wanted it to end.
No. As Castro goes around, Mores gets ahead. Larry couldn't really see from this angle if there was contact, but the way Castro went around, I'm thinking it might have been.
That looked like, we'll check a replay. We'll catch this from the Mores view here. Let's see if Mores just gets into him. Yep, yes. I'm pretty sure the number 9 taps the back of the 14. Castro goes around. Mores in 4th, Castro in 5th for the moment. All right, flashback up. There's Hartley with Dam now. These guys are 3 seconds ahead of Copeland already.
Yeah, in just 2 laps. And Dam has made, that also means that Dam has made up about 4 seconds to Hartley in that time.
Yeah. Dam, the fastest car on the track. His last lap was only a 10th off of his best, and I think the fastest GT3 lap of the race. That's how fast Mike Dam is here at 21 laps into this thing in GT3 trim. He wants this win bad.
And so Dam was your leader, had an unassisted spin early on that dropped him all the way back to 5th. He's working his way back up to the lead. As we take a look now, this is the battle for now for 4th in AM, as Jeff Brooks gets around John Casey. Now we had seen previously the fight for a number of laps between Casey and his Frito Sport teammate Chuck Labano. Labano had made his way clear. And looking at the gap now, Larry, between Labano and the Brooks and Casey pair, looks like Casey may have had some issues a couple laps ago.
Yeah, and he may have had a bit of a slower pit stop than Labano, the teammate there. Jeff Brooks, of course, with his fresh shiny suit that he's wearing there, has got himself up into that 4th spot in the AM.
It is a pretty suit. You think it's like a Brooks Brothers suit.
It is a lot like a Brooks Brothers. As he's got himself up into that 4th spot. I don't know that he's going to have enough to catch to Labano up there, but we'll see. He's got 12 seconds, but he's only got a couple minutes to do it, as we are now on lap 25 of Ben Rose. And I don't
Larry
think
just came across
stopped.
also Yago Mores assigned a 10-second post-race penalty. It looks like Mores and Castro kind of worked things out on track with Castro now ahead of Mores, but that's not going to stop the stewards from assigning blame there and assigning a penalty.
The stewards might be human. They might see that and then say, okay, well, as long as they took care of it on track and he served his penalty a different way, maybe they'll allow it. We'll see. But what we do know is Ben Rose, your race leader, is a third of a lap in to what we believe is going to be the final lap of the race. And I don't think he made a second pit stop.
No, he did not. He nor Aaron Beaver, who finds himself up in 2nd position right now in the Aerokinetics Cadillac.
How efficient is that Cadillac of the DNA Motorsports Ben Rose, as well as Aaron Beaver's Cadillac? Fernando, we know he did stop.
Well, and Larry, you can see how Rose is trying to save fuel. He ran a 3:29, almost 4 seconds off the pace of Beaver on his last lap. He's just trying to get this baby home. He's got almost a 25-second advantage over Beaver at this point. So as long as as long as he can just kind of eke the win out here, he should be fine.
Will not make predictions. We lose in that game every time, so we'll just gotta keep our eyes out as he's gonna make this pass on one of our BMWs there. He's at Brist, but here we go. Hartley going back to our lead in GT3 Pro. Hartley now fending off Mike Dam, and Mike Dam is going to try and make the draft pass on the straight as they head towards Indianapolis. I think is where they are now, down through the wooded section. Look at these guys side by side. We saw this a little bit ago with Copeland.
And then hard on the brakes for the 90-degree here over into Arnage.
Yep. This time nobody yielding as Dam's going to hold the inside. Look at that defensive line as they come out of the right-hander and head to the left, or out of the left, head to the right. And now they'll head toward the Porsche curves on what should be their final lap, I believe, as they are on track behind a race leader, Ben Rose. So this is going to be checker for them when they get there.
All right, well, Rose now coming up into the Porsche curves.
With all the momentum.
And a great tribute to Ben Rose's father after a challenging start to this race. Ben Rose comes through the final corners, comes through the Ford chicane, and your winner tonight at Le Mans in GTP, winning round number 4 of the World Challenge. It's Ben Rose. That's
an incredible race from right from the green to the checker for Ben Rose, just dominating. But we're not done yet, as Mike Dam is going to right now hold off. We think Hartley, they've got one more wiggle to go. Is it going to be Dam for his 3rd win of the season?
And coming out of the final corner, it is. Mike Dam takes the win in GT3 Pro over his teammate Rob Hartley. Finishing 3rd in Pro is going to be Ken Copeland. As we've got Aaron Beaver now crossing the line. He'll finish 2nd in GTP. Fernando Takahashi will bring his Porsche home in 3rd. And now if we take a look at GT3 AM, let's pick up our leader here coming through the Porsche coming through the Porsche curves here on the very last lap. Jackson Detmer, who started this race towards the tail end of the GT3 AM field, worked his way all the way up, I think 5 positions on the very first lap. He's got now just 2 more corners remaining. Or maybe a few more.
A little wiggle there.
I can't count.
A little wiggle there as he comes up to the pair of final chicanes. He can smell it. Victory is in his sights with just another little wiggle of the wheel to the left, a little one to the right, and there are checkers.
There you go, taking the win in GT3 AM, Jackson Detmer, and it's going to be a while, almost 10 seconds before we see young Leo Dragota from Dragon Sport Racing. He takes his Porsche. Same thing, Leo starting towards the back of the field. He'll finish 2nd in AM, and big. Chuck Labano. We've got a little while for Chuck.
He's not quite there yet, but he's working his way there. He's got Jeff Brooks about 5 seconds in closing behind him. There's Brooks in the Porsche. I don't know if this is going to be enough for Brooks to get there. Labano's still moving. Oh, it's going to be close. Labano a little slow to finish.
Not carrying a lot of pace through those final corners. But there you go, taking the bronze, finishing 3rd in GT3 AM from Frito Sport Racing in the number 34 Ferrari. It's Chuck Labano. Jeff Brooks, he's going to finish just off the podium in 4th. So in GTP, it's Ben Rose, Aaron Beaver, Fernando Takahashi. In GT3 Pro, Mike Dam, Robert Hartley, Ken Copeland. And in AM, Jackson Detmer, Leo Dragota, and Chuck Labano. All right, Larry, let's take a quick break. Thank some of our partners and sponsors, and when we come back, we'll talk to some of our podium finishers here from Le Mans, where you have just seen round number 4 of the Extreme Motorsports Ricmotech World Challenge, presented by Performa Elite, Buttkicker, and the MRA Advisory Group, and we'll be right back.
Ricmotech, high-performance sim racing equipment. Whether you're just looking to have fun, train for race day, or become a serious esports competitor, Ricmotech has you covered. Hundreds of name brand parts. Support from experts that love sim racing. trusted by the pros. There's only one place to go, Ricmotech.com.
The search is over. The most comprehensive league scoring solution is here, with the ability for multi-level championships, custom incident tracking, post-race time penalties, support for heats, drop weeks display, multi-car team scoring, advanced web widgets, rookie championships, a custom paint system, and load those results in seconds. Visit extremescoring.info today.
And welcome back to the Circuit de la Sarthe for the Extreme Motorsports Ricmotech World Challenge round number 4, where we've just seen an amazing 90-minute battle. I'm Greg Ginsburg along with Larry Lefty McLeod, and let's take a look at that finishing order. Oh, there's Detmer coming up for his photo op. As I'm watching one of our other cameras, and he came counter race. But let's take a look at the finishing order here with Ben Rose, Aaron Beaver, and Fernando Takahashi, your top 3 in GTP. In GT3 Pro, the 2 Orion Racing teammates, Mike Dam and Hartley, take first and second, with Team Esport Racers Ken Copeland finishing third. And in AM, it's Jackson Detmer, your winner, with Leo Dragotta finishing second, and Chuck Labano rounding out the top 3. All right, so Larry, let's see here. I believe we have 2 of our race winners here. Let's do this. Let's while we're still waiting for some of our other folks to come in, why don't we go to our overall winner tonight, taking the win in GTP in the number 5 Cadillac? It's Ben Rose.
All right, Ben Rose, awesome job tonight. Incredible, putting the car on the pole, going all the way and taking the checker. But I know this means a lot to you. Tell us a little about what you're feeling right now.
Really happy. Extremely happy.
Yeah, I'm sure we had heard about your father this week. I'm sure this means a lot to you and your family. Just a little piece of something. You got to be feeling for that. But it's just awesome. We all feel for you, and the best for you and your family at this time. But you come into this race, you must have put in some time. You got on the pole, and you had some major pace tonight. Were you just focused in every corner, every lap, because you really were laying down some fast times?
Well, I did practice a lot, and this is if not one of my favorite tracks. I've done so many laps with multiple 24-hour events. In fact, I did 2 of these with my teammate, two drivers, 24 hours. So I love this track. The car feels great. I practice a lot with my teammates. I had the setup dialed up. I messed up quali. Otherwise, I think I might have been maybe 5/10 faster. But in the beginning, I was just focused on going into turn 1 and turn 2, ensuring I didn't outbrake myself and just make the turn. The cold tires were kind of making going over the curb being a little bit skittish when I was practicing, so I was really focused on that. And once we were ahead, I was just focusing, keeping the pace. And then we had the caution, which kind of turned upside down the whole pit strategy. I completely lost focus of it, and I pit actually with 1 lap left of fuel, and I might have done it, but it would have been extremely dicey. So the last 8 laps, I was just basically coasting from the 200 meter on the straight for the last 8 laps. I had to save 4 liters of fuel, and I can't believe I did it.
Well, we were told that the cars could go 12. We had done the math and said, well, we thought you needed to come in with 1 lap to go, and you didn't. And we said, well, this is going to be interesting. But that paid off. The execution, it sounds like, is what ends up paying off to be able to stretch that out. So incredible with everything else going on with the pace that you have. In the end, it was the fact that you were able to drive slow enough to not need the extra pit stop. Ultimately, it may have helped you get this victory tonight. But obviously, this victory means a lot to you personally. But I know you've got a team and everybody else. Who do you want to give a shout out to and a thanks to here tonight for this victory?
Definitely my wife with the support this week as everything is going by. My teammates, with the support as well, and the practice, and of course dedicated this to my dad.
Yeah, well, awesome stuff. Well, congratulations to you to earn this victory. Well earned and a very meaningful one for you. Congrats, Ben.
Thank you very much, guys. Have a good one.
All right, there you go. Ben Rose, your winner tonight in GTP. All right, so Larry, I've only got one other driver sitting and waiting for us. Apparently, this this fight tonight took a lot out of a lot of our.
It's a long walk to the TV interview area from the pit lane.
It is, yeah. I mean, kind of like Jensen Button at Monaco. All right, let's do this. Let's bring in from Orion Racing, Mike Dam, your winner in GT3 Pro.
All right, well, we thought maybe a 90-minute race would get kind of boring, but boy, did it pick up at the end for Mike Dam as you and your teammate Rob and Ken Copeland. My goodness, you guys had a heck of a battle those last couple laps. Tell me a little bit about, Mike, when you come out of that pit stop and all of a sudden you see Rob and Ken just up in front of you and you got to chase them down.
Yeah, all was looking well. Kind of midway through the race, I kind of felt like I had it in hand there. And just kind of got ahead of myself, apex too early, hit the grass and the sausage curbs. Oh, that was a little scary. I was actually really surprised I kept it off the wall, so that was a moment.
Yeah, you managed to keep it off the wall and just spun all the way one way and snapped and went all the way the other way as you're watching Ken and Rob and a few others go on by you. But then you had the recovery and you get to that second pit stop, and all of a sudden you had a lightning quick stop, quicker I think than anybody else for their second stop, and you find yourself right up on the other two. And then you end up with that battle. What was the strategy on the last lap? Was it to get around Rob and try and get it early? Because we saw you guys side by side down near Indianapolis, but it got a little tense there on that last lap with you two teammates.
Yeah, honestly, Rob was super quick. I think the second last lap he ran a mid 53, so it was going to be tough. I tried to really get on his bumper in the last chicane, and I kind of messed it up. It's like I thought I almost ruined my chance there. But no, that whole lap I was just, I needed to get on his bumper, and luckily I was able to, and was just able to, get him around in Indianapolis. So I didn't think I was going to win that one. Super happy to actually pull that off. So
yeah, awesome run for you tonight. At the end, I'm going to say, he goes from the pole to the victory, but obviously with the perhaps self-induced spin in the middle, made it pretty exciting to get you back up here. It was pretty darn cool. And that becomes your third victory of the season. So that's going to be really good when it comes to those points when we start adding this thing up as we get to the second half of the season. But for you, that third victory means you get to give some thanks and shout outs to your teammates and folks to help you along the way.
Yeah, I just want to thank my teammates. They're awesome. Everybody at Orion, Kevin and Jeff for putting this thing on. All the drivers here, they make it a lot of fun. They're all respectful. I'd like to thank JRT, Huffy Cycles, just Frank at Ricmotech. He does a great job. So,
well, awesome. Another great victory for you, Mike. 3 wins in 4 rounds, and this one got pretty exciting. And we appreciate you putting on a good show. And congrats on that. And you get to go celebrate with the rest of the team. Congrats.
Thanks, guys.
All right, there you go. Mike Dam, your winner tonight in GT3 Pro, representing Orion Racing. And Larry, apparently nobody else could find their way to the
They're already sipping champagne and eating caviar.
That is likely what it is. Either that or they're all getting their, well, no, I'm not going to say that. Anyway, let's do this. Let's wrap things up here. It's awfully late here tonight after a 90-minute race. But of course, Larry, these Ricmotech series, they never stop, they never end. Let's take a look at what we've got coming up here in the near future. Next Monday night at 8 p.m. Eastern Time, it is the return of the Ricmotech Sports Car Series for our GT4 and LMP3 racers, and kind of mirroring the United States Grand Prix. This weekend, we're going to be at the Circuit of the Americas next Monday night for a 60-minute race. And then in 2 weeks, that's going to be the witching hour, actually. It's October 30th, not the 31st. Round number 5 of the World Challenge. We return to the United States for another 75-minute race. We're going to be heading to upstate New York and Watkins Glen International. Again, for our LMP, our GTP and GT3 drivers. And then you definitely want to join us come January when we have the return of the Ricmotech Touring Car Cup for our MX-5 Cup cars, as well as the GR86 Cup cars. And we don't have the location yet for you, but stick around. We'll definitely give you information as we get closer. So for Larry Lefty McLeod, for Lee Thompson, I'm Greg Ginsburg, and we'll see you next Monday night from Circuit of the Americas. Have a great week, everybody.
Ricmotech, high-performance sim racing equipment. There's only one place to go, ricmotech.com.